Now, on the 15th of October 2007, armed police carried out what would become known as the Tuhoe Terror raids. They arrested a group of activists they claimed were terrorists in training. Eventually, the charges were dropped to firearms offences, but the 17 charged have faced agonising delays getting a trial. It's now set for early next year. For former Vietnam veteran Tuhoe Lambert, the nearly 4-year wait has been too long, and this week he died after a long illness. Tuhoe was 59 when he was arrested and already suffering ill health. Joining me to discuss this sad turn of events is human rights lawyer Annette Sykes, and on the phone, one of the Tuhoe defendants, Tame Iti Tēnā Korua. Tame, tell us about Tuhoe Lambert.
Tuhoe Lambert, from Waikato Mana, a very passionate person who believes that that supports Tuhoe's striving for mana motuhake and the return of the uruwera. And he has been involved and participated in the in over a long period of time. And and I get just like myself and others that they've been pushing along there for to get a push for Tuhoe. So Tuhoe Lambert has very much been involved in particularly in the last few years, supporting us and to endeavour us to move forward.
And Tame, what kind of person was he? What kind of person was Tuhoe? Because most people will see him as, well, what he was charged as, a terrorist. But what kind of person really was Tuhoe Lambert?
He's a guy. He's a family man. He's a grandfather, a father, and I guess like any normal person that work with his hapu and his father, because he's partly Tuhoe and also Kainu. So he's affiliated to those two iwi with Kainu and Tuhoe, but also got his party outside too, the Lamberts, and so. So and I guess that he very much believes that they, like all of us, that there need to be some form of justice, and he experienced injustices, and he experienced the fact that when he went to Vietnam and he came back there, and nobody dared to meet him except his mum and dad. And in fact that as a young man, when he returned home to Aotearoa, they were told that, nobody need to know till you just come back from Vietnam. So he was really upset about it, because he thought that he went over to Vietnam to save his country, for Kenyan country, but
so Tame, what you're saying is he's a family man, but also a strong proponent for Tuhoe rights and also a strong proponent for Vietnam veterans. Now, Tame, we did ask the Solicitor General David Collins to come onto the program, but he wouldn't comment because the case is still before the courts. But Annette, I mean, is Tuhoe's case still going at this stage?
Well, I can imagine that in light of the events, the tragic events of the last week, that his lawyer, Baron Aveake, will be making applications for those matters that are before the court in his name to be withdrawn on the basis that he's sadly passed away. But can I just say that I've known Tuhoe for 20 years. I was his lawyer in the claims that Tame's spoken about. He was a gentleman. He was somebody who was passionate about education of his children. He wanted the return of Lake Waikato Moana to the hapu that he served. But he was also generous. Like when we went up to Waikato Moana, we very rarely had anywhere to stay. There's no motels up there. He would move out of his one-bedroom home and give that to the lawyers to stay in. It would always be warm, it would always have lots of kai, and he would work untiringly around the back of the marae with one of the other claimants, Nikapuru. So for me, they were the epitome of the generosity of the spirit of Tuhoe.
How does the family get justice for him now?
Well, that's the key issue, that he was a fighter for justice. Since the inception of these charges, he has vigorously denied any role in them. He has found it very difficult because many of the veterans that he's worked with ostracised him. And yet I think, let's be truthful, it was Agent Orange that really contributed to his death. And that's something else that's a claim before the Crown by veterans because they haven't been dealt with. So he has a lot on his mind, and no doubt his children. One of them was so moved by the injustice to the family. He's been studying law at Auckland University. I see his son about to emerge as one of the great lawyers, Māori lawyers of this generation. And sadly, Tuhoe's not going to be here to see him graduate.
Tame, how do you think the raids affected Tuhoe?
Sorry, sir?
How do you think the raids affected Tuhoe Lambert?
Oh, no, lots of ways. You know, in mentally, psychologically, physically, and but it put a toll on him, and health-wise, and it just went down. He just went down, and when he went down, and tired, and in a lot of ways, and it affected him. But he still managed to support his son, and it talked about doing law. Also the younger girl too also was doing law, and so he still managed to what little energy that he had, he still managed to be there.
Yeah, I'd say about him, he attended every court case. So even though he was suffering obviously from the psychological impact and the loss of spirit, he came to every court case determined to fight. He was keeping his lawyer completely abreast. So Tuhoe for me epitomised the fight, and he moved to Auckland to enable that fight to continue, because of course the case was up here when his principal home was Waikato, Moana and Hastings, and all of these things I think had a toll on him. But you know, sadly the Agent Orange issue wasn't really something that was highlighted during the case, but it's obviously had its impact on him and everybody now.
Kia ora. Ene tēnā koe tame, tēnā koe e hoa kawe atu wā mātou mihi, me o mātou, tō mātou aroha ki te whānau o Tuhoe Lambert. Our sympathies to the Lambert family. Tēnā koe tame.
Kia ora.
Kia ora rā.